I'm going to talk quickly about our Green City Clean Waters program, which our Philadelphia Water Department has put out. And if I miss a few things in my 6 minutes, you can read our 1,800-page report and get a whole bunch more information on the website here. And apologies up front, I am not the one who usually presents on this, so I'll do my best. So we developed our Green City Clean Waters program as a result of two things. One, we are one of the oldest cities in the country, and we have the oldest municipal water system. So we have the combined sewage overflow issue that I think about 821 other communities around the country are facing. So faced with that, and also faced with really an inequitable distribution of green space and green assets, you'll see we have a lot of pavement, a lot of spaces in Philadelphia like this. We also have some that look like this. We have some that look like this, some neighborhoods with very little tree canopy, very little access to green spaces, and then we have a fabulous 9,200-acre park system and a heavy tree canopy in other parts of the city. So bringing those two factors together, both our noncompliance with the Clean Water Act through our CSO problem, and also this inequity issue that we wanted to resolve, we proposed to take a green infrastructure approach and proposed in 2009 to our State Department of Environmental Protection and to the EPA to let us resolve that issue not through the traditional gray infrastructure, but through a really comprehensive and extensive green infrastructure program that would take about 34% of the city and apply green solutions to it. So I'll say up front that we have not yet gained EPA approval. We had the EPA Administrator Lisa Jackson in town on Earth Day last week, and she promised to be back shortly to approve the program. But this is very different. We would be the first city who would be looking for approval for this kind of approach. And as the EPA has said, that would set precedent, and other people would want to do it too. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's the idea. But getting them to sign on that line and to make that decision that they're going to go in this direction has been something that we've been struggling with. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. So Green City Clean Waters is a $2 billion program over 20 years. So it would be the largest public works program in our generation in the city of Philadelphia. But at the same time, there's concern that $2 billion isn't enough to move the amount of water that we need to move. In Philadelphia, we have a population of 1.5 million. We have an infrastructure system for 2 million. So we're taking care of more than we have the tax base to pay for. We also have about 25% of our population living at or below the poverty line. So ability to pay is an issue as well for us. So in structuring a program, we had to look at both the results and getting the amount of water moved that we needed to, but also looking at affordability and what we could afford to put onto our taxpayers. So this real quickly is a breakdown between components of the program. And so this is our long-term control plan. We're starting to look out 20 years at our city. And kind of to Sadhu's point, we're looking at how we can affect physical change and how we can both ask residents to partake in this and ask and tell commercial landowners to partake in this, but also go out into neighborhoods and start to do this work and to bring that physical change into neighborhoods across the city, which I think is a really powerful opportunity in this program. We talk a lot about sustainability, a lot about climate, a lot about all of these things. And to be able to go into West Philadelphia, to go into North Philadelphia, and show people what this is about, this is going to be a really powerful program for us. And so we're looking at a number of ways that we're going to be able to accomplish this. So looking at a typical residential street, row homes, these are all of the things that we can do to start re-envisioning the spaces that we occupy and take water into account. So what we're looking to do is to capture that first inch of rain after a major storm event and to do that through green solutions. So that's the ultimate goal. And again, we're going to be looking at about 34% of the city in our catchment area to be able to do this. So we're looking at a huge amount of physical space that we're hoping to transform. And we're doing this both through our plan of these green innovations. We're looking at schools, we're looking at streets, we're looking at alleys, public spaces, open spaces, vacant lots, wetlands, creeks and watersheds. But we're also looking at stormwater regulations and a new stormwater billing system. So the billing system that we've had in place that says you use this much water, you pay this much. We have transformed that system into a parcel-based billing system. So we're looking at the acreage, we're looking at permeable versus impermeable surface cover, and charging you based on your stormwater impacts. So we just transitioned to this in January, and the reaction has been interesting and kind of what you would expect. So you will see that a lot of people were winners. So it really encourages and rewards dense urban spaces. So if you're a skyscraper, you probably have a much reduced bill. If you're a big parking lot, you have a much higher bill, and you're going to your city council person and complaining about that. So we did a lot of outreach, we did a lot of education, but obviously this is going to be ongoing. And so one of the things that we've been looking at is really how we work with people to help them understand the benefits and how we get them through this transitional period. So how we create the incentives to do that. So we go with them, we do an analysis, so we're offering free design services, we're offering grants, we're offering loans to help them make this transition. And as a result of the regulations and the billing, these are just private projects that have been proposed as a result. So we're also helping to resolve that ability to pay issue by putting some of that cost and some of that onto the private market as well. So it's not always the private market creating the problem that government then pays for, but we're trying to kind of right that system a little bit and do a more equitable distribution of the true costs. And I'll wrap up here. We're trying to talk about this more and more in terms of the multiple benefits. So the benefits for the community, trying to create more green space, going into communities and understanding what they need, also talking about jobs, economic development, and that we're not just sinking that investment underground into a pipe, we're bringing it above ground so we get those multiple benefits. And I'll wrap up quickly here. We have a lot of milestones we're looking to meet. We're going to be ramping up, and over the course of 20 years, a lot of the activity will start taking place in 5 years. And so we're just hoping that we look at something like this and we start thinking about it like that. This to that. So we're looking at very typical spaces in our city and thinking about how we can transform them. And these are projects that we've been able to do already. So we're at the very beginning and hope that we have a good ways longer to go. Thank you.